that's in the winners round 1, and then we have 2 competitors who are not from Spain as well. So I think in the end we're going to have one game where it's going to be Spain versus somebody from outside.
It could very well be. We've seen a lot of really heavy competition so far today. We just discussed really close games, and I'm excited to see what we have in store for these next ones coming up. Again, we got Patoman on the left-hand side against Borja. We saw Borja play one of the first matches of the day, getting very tranquil almost, I would say, while he is getting ready to prepare. I think a lot goes through his mind when he's playing. Patoman, he's one that's very familiar with the stage, but he doesn't have a very familiar team for a lot of people because he's running some interesting off-meta picks like that Jellicent, like the Talonflame that we haven't seen too much of in other teams.
Yeah, Chargebug also he's the only one who's running this Pokemon right now as well. Gastrodon, we didn't see a lot of Gastrodon. We did see other Mud Slappers. We saw Kanto Marowak, we saw Claydol as well coming in, but Gastrodon is something very new. On the other side, we have again another Pokemon that's trying to make its way into the meta, and that is Malamar. Malamar has plenty of good matchups, but the problem is that Tinkaton, which is available on the side of Patoman.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting picks on Borja's side because it almost looks like this team is a combination of old meta and new. Shadow Feraligatr and Clodsire at the beginning of our championship series were running everywhere. They sort of dropped off for a little bit, but Borja's looking to make a comeback with them, adding the Lapras in, one of the Pokemon that recently got an update in the Might and Mastery. Also noting that this Lapras is running Skull Bash over Ice Beam, making it much better in the mirrors and much better against Pokemon such as Azumarill, while also boosting its own defense.
Yeah, Lapras in this case against Pataman's team has plenty of play. There are no grass types, as I said. There is that Chargebug, but of course Sparkling Aria still do a lot of damage, and you can potentially try to flip that matchup based on the amount of shields you want to invest as the Lapras. Another Pokemon that I really want to shout out is that Clodsire. Clodsire also looks pretty good, and Diggersby again, a great Pokemon to have. It has the bulk, has plenty of coverage, and damage over time will work against Pataman's team.
Both of these trainers have had a bit of time to prepare at this point for what they want to see coming up. Looks like they're already discussing, they maybe have a game plan in mind for this first game, but since it is a best of 3, that means there's plenty more opportunities to kind of divulge, see what your opponent wants to bring, see the mindset that your opponent is bringing into the battle.
Yeah. We're slowly sneaking into the creme de la creme of the competition. This is the winners semis, so this will edge them even closer towards that coveted title. I really want to see Golisopod again in action. I've been saying it the whole tournament, but it's such a good Pokemon. Looking at Borja's team, it has plenty of play. Malamar does not want to deal with an X-Scissor. Diggersby is going to take a ton of damage from those Aqua Jets. Aqua Jet's still super effective against a Clodsire. X-Scissor is neutral, and again, damage over time will do a lot of work against Jumpluff. Feraligatr, it comes down to Charge Attack tie, and we do not know which one of these trainers wins the Charge Attack tie.
We might find out because they are getting ready. They are locked in. We're gonna get started. Diggersby up against a Tinkerton at the beginning here. We'll have to see who wants to pivot out of this matchup at this point. And I think Patoman automatically going for that Golisopod, wants to get a little bit of an energy advantage, but immediately coming in now with Borja and his Jumpluff.
Jumpluff comes in here. It has access to 2 super effective charge attacks here, but not before Pataman gets to the X-Scissor. X-Scissor is going to be neutral against the Jumpluff, and immediate no shield by Borja.
No shield, still in the green, but look at this. Borja has opted to go for the heavy hitting acrobatics. It does get the shield. This would do so much damage to the Golisopod. Otherwise, Pataman puts up the shield here. He is a little bit ahead on energy, so that means he will be able to hit another X-Scissor first. Meanwhile, Jumpluff has to continue to charge up, now going for an aerial ace at another charge attack priority.
I think this is going to be very close here. Pataman at this point, since there is no shield on the side of Borja, can commit to shielding once more and farming down the Jumpluff. Or is the aerial ace enough? I do not think it's enough to warrant a shield here. Let's see what Pataman does. He pulls up a shield and securing the switch here.
I think he knows at this point it's going to be the charge attacks are doing a lot, but Feraligatr comes in saying, I don't want you to be able to farm this down. I don't want to get any extra Shadow Claw advantage. Going now for this Hydro Cannon here. This should be of no protect shields remaining. The Feraligatr shakes his head no, but he really means yes, get out of here, Golisopod. Unfortunately for him, not able to hit it. X-Scissor coming through, forcing a shield on Borja's side.
Shield comes in here. Feraligatr still has plenty of play into the backline of Padoman. Padoman saying, I'm not going to wait for you to get more energy. Coming in with the Tinkerton immediately here. Hydro Cannon will do a ton of work against the Tinkerton. Tries to go for the charge attack tie here, Boria, but Padoman says, I want the energy.
Knowing that he's not going to win that charge attack tie, just continues swinging the hammer down, and now out of play rough, going to throw onto the Feraligatr. Feraligatr still has one shield left on the side, but this is regular, not a shadow. I don't think that Borja thinks it's going to knock out. It hangs on by a thread, an immediate pivot now into the Diggersby here for a much better matchup for Borja.
This is going to be crucial here. If this Bulldoze does that defense debuff against the Diggersby, the endgame will be super interesting because the Jellicent's surf damage is going to add up over time. Here comes, and gets the defense fall. This is pivotal here.
Does get the defense fall. Going for another charge attack priority. This Bulldoze, we saw it doesn't do that much damage, but guess what? Its chip damage is chip damage. It's already defenses are dropped, and he's looking for a double, and guess what? Ask and you shall receive.
I think that's something we call as a caster's curse here. Double debuff Diggersby, unfortunately, but this Fire Punch is enough. But this Jellicent is going to have a field day. One of these serves now, which would have not threatened to knock out, will put the Diggersby in a very, very tough situation.
Going immediately for the Scorching Sands, trying to stall out the timer, perhaps get an attack debuff, but he doesn't get it. As you can see, neither one of these fast attacks from either of these Pokemon are doing that much damage. Trying to pivot into the jump bluff, but not able to get to any attack, and just giving more farm for the Jellicent in the back.
Jellicent does have a lot of energy stored here, but can Boryap use that shield advantage that he has? Will he come in with the Diggersby? Yes, he does. Immediate surf by Patoman. Also, we need to make sure that we remember the Feraligatr did go out with a Hydro Cannon stored.
Wow, super effective damage. It does so much. An immediate other throw by Patoman. He wants to make sure that this Diggersby at least puts up a shield. So much health left on the Jellicent at this point. It's going to be an uphill battle. Will the Glycerin be able to get there? A combination play. No protect shields, no problem, says Patoman.
Combo play. A Golisopod's Aqua Jet will be enough to knock out the Diggersby, and also that extra Shadow Claw will be enough to knock out the Feraligatr. So no way back into the game for Boria. Brilliant, brilliant energy management by Patoman.
We haven't seen Jellicent by very many players, but when it's coming in, it's making an impact. Patoman taking game number 1 in the winners semifinals. He just needs one more to continue on in this top cut to be in the winners finals.
Such a close game. It came down to charge attack tie towards the end as well. Unfortunately for Boria, Diggersby not winning that charge attack tie against the Golisopod, and the Golisopod having enough HP to get one more Shadow Claw onto the Feraligatr to knock it out. What a brilliant Jellicent gameplay. It did too much work, I think.
Yeah, they did a lot of work. I think main things that games like this show is just because you lose a lead doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to lose a game there. Quick pivots, great energy management, and just a good wherewithal of how your opponent is playing can really take you from the back foot to be able to make you win matches such as you just saw with Patoman.
Yeah, Golisopod put in a ton of work. I think in these scenarios, when you have such a dominant lead, you might want to try to secure that lead matchup by not going for that big acrobatics move on the jump off. I think going straight air lace would have been a better move in that scenario because you could kind of fight for shield parity. But at this point, losing that lead, coming in with the Diggersby or the Feraligatr, taking so much energy from the Golisopod, it was too much of an uphill climb.
I think that's a good point, but a lot of times players would play exactly how you just described it, right? Maybe Borja was thinking, everyone's going to expect me to go for the aerial ace. He might not shield, and in which case I'm in a very, very good position. Unfortunately for him, didn't work out there, but let's see how they go for game number 2. We got that Malamar taking the field. Ooh, up against the Tinkerton. Really great play by Patoman, considering Tinkerton once again in the lead, even though it wasn't strong last time. Quick swap by both trainers into a little bit of a longer matchup here. We have that Surf that will be super effective against the Diggersby. Not much the Diggersby can throw back that's going to be doing too much damage.
Yeah, but Scorching Sand also has this ability to get the attack fall on the Jellicent. Let's see if the first Scorching Sand happens to give the attack fall, because that might change the end results of this matchup. Diggersby, of course, is not doing any damage with that quick attack. And again, Hex is also resisted by the normal typing of the Diggersby.
I think, Abi, look at this. You're calling them left and right. You're calling defense drops. You're calling attack drops. And now this Surf won't be doing as much damage because that attack went through. Now just calling up a little bit more. Actually throwing right away when he gets the energy. Doesn't want to let the Jellicent get any more and just put some meaningful chip damage into the Pokemon that really gave so much trouble in the last game.
Yeah, Malamar immediately coming in, only to be met with the Tinkaton. Tinkaton swinging that hammer into the Malamar, and Malamar does not appreciate any of these Fairy Winds.
Going ahead and just charging up to basically maximum energy here. Now that the play rough, this is a tough position to be in because you have so much on the Malamar, and a last-second shield by Borja. This would have definitely knocked it out here. Now he wants to go to throwing the superpower, which is going to lower his own attack and defense. So you want to use these at the very last seconds. No shield by Patoman here, but you can see this. It does a heavy chunk, and another one is already ready.
Another one, another superpower comes in. If no shield, this is going to put the Tinkaton deep into the red here. Again, Patoman is like, all right, oh man, that is so close. At this point, you can potentially pull up another shield and secure the switch. Borja says, no, I'm going to take the energy on my Pokemon and try to flip the back matchups.
There's very little farm left. Now in comes the Clodsire, but now in comes a good matchup for it with the Golisopod here. Since it is running Stone Edge, Patoman does have to be a little bit careful of the charge attacks that are coming through. Meanwhile, these Aqua Jets, while they are impactful, they're not doing too much damage to really threaten the Clodsire yet with a shield.
Yeah, but the critical point here is that the Clodsire will need to get to 3 Stone Edges to go past the shields of the Golisopod and knock it out. But the Golisopod just has to get to 2 more Aqua Jets to knock that Clodsire out of the game. Let's see what happens here. Waits a turn, Patoman. Great patience shown, and the Clodsire is forced to pull up its last protection.
Yeah, Patoman does not want to have these Aqua Jets caught on the Diggersby in the back, negating all of the energy that's being built. So you can see him pausing sometimes, making sure that the Clodsire animation of the fast attack is going through, getting this last shield here because it would be very, very tough for the Golisopod to be able to go on from here. But he's at the attack. Borja tries to swap in, but ineffective as the Patoman just continues to farm up to 2 attacks.
Yeah, brilliant counting there, getting to the attack just before Diggersby was able to get to the Fire Punch. Back-to-back Aqua Jet loaded because the next one is going to go on to the Clodsire, and this will be enough to knock the Clodsire out of the game.
Golisopod coming in both game 1, game number 2, throw and charge attacks left and right, winning Patoman the game, securing his spot for the winners finals. Congratulations to the Duck.
Yeah, Patoman has been doing brilliantly so far. Has he actually dropped any games?
I will have to actually go back into the thing for sure. But I think he has dropped a match, but not a full thing. Obviously, he's now inside of the winners finals. One of the only left. We'll have to see the next matchup between HK Assassin and Vision Prod to see who will be facing up against him. Borja, meanwhile, dropping down to the loser's side of the bracket, but we'll be continuing on in this top cut in the Sevilla Special Championship.
We still have